Today is January 6th, the third anniversary of one of the worst acts of political terrorism in American history. On January 6, 2021, a radical right-wing mob of thousands of people stormed the U.S. Capitol building on direct incitement from Donald Trump. They did that with the specific goal of preventing this peaceful transition of power because they didn't like the outcome of a free election. That is a dictionary definition of political terrorism. January 6th was a terrorist attack, and it was a turning point in how we have to think about our democracy. There are a lot of people who want to forget that January 6th ever happened, or to minimize it, or lie about it. But it really was a very big deal, because January 6th crossed a line from protest, which we're all kind of used to open deadly violence with a political goal. We know exactly what the organizers of January 6th were planning, because we have all their chat logs now. All their phone records. Most of that stuff is public record now. The terrorists exchanged messages for weeks about their plans. They planned what tools to bring to pry open doors. They brought gas masks, zip ties, pipe bombs, long guns, Molotov cocktails. They had an org chart, and they tried to kill Mike Pence and Mitt Romney for refusing to overturn an election. They murdered a U.S. Capitol police officer and injured hundreds more. January 6th was not just a riot, and it sure as hell wasn't a protest. It was a terrorist assault against American democracy. Now, a lot of the guys involved in January 6th were just scumbags. But honestly, some weren't. Some were basically decent people who were honestly lied to and misled by people they trusted. Like this guy, Jacob Fracker. Fracker was a police officer and Marine Corps veteran from Rocky Mount. Fracker's mentor, an older officer who he called Dad, convinced Fracker to come with him to D.C. that day and to storm the Capitol. In court testimony later on, Fracker himself and many others said they figured out only afterward that they'd been lied to by people they trusted and respected, and they felt incredibly betrayed and hurt when they figured out that it was all a bunch of lies. Now, grown-ups are still responsible for their own actions, and so is that guy, but it's still a really sad story about how some people have become so convinced that overthrowing democracy made them the good guys. There is an organized extremist political movement in our country today that does not share our basic belief in democracy, and we can all see it, and we all know exactly who it is. There are things that are bigger and more important than our partisan attachments, and a basic commitment to peaceful, functional electoral democracy should be one of them. It takes a lot of personal courage and integrity to set aside partisan feelings for a higher purpose, but there are people who are, and people who will. Resolve to always be one of them, because that's what being a real American is all about.
And let's be critical thinkers here. If it was Joe Biden and the Democrats that did this, it would be a no-brainer definition of an insurrection. If it was Joe Biden that did this, there would be swift accountability immediately, and Republicans would be shouting from the rooftops, the same as we Democrats are. But instead, Republicans act on convenient, motivated reasoning to try and deny what they don't like because they don't want to face the consequences. Look, some things are bigger than partisanship. This is one of them.